And now, let's join ace broadcaster Mamode Akugha as he takes us inside the Niger Delta.
Hello out there and welcome to the program. It's Inside the Niger Delta, the authentic voice of Nigeria's oil-rich region. I'm your regular host, Mamode Akugha in Port Harcourt. Today on the program, we bring you reports and analysis on the politics and development issues trending in the Niger Delta. We begin with an update on the recent resignations from the ruling People's Democratic Party and the restoration government of Governor Henry Seriake-Dickson by frontline politicians in Bayelsa State. Next in our lineup is a retrospective look at proceedings of the recently concluded investigative hearing on the abandoned projects in the Niger Delta by the House of Representatives Ad-hoc Committee on the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC. Also in today's package is a special report on the challenges confronting the NDDC in its mandate to intervene in Nigeria's Niger Delta region. For more details into this edition of the program, please stay tuned as Inside the Niger Delta, the authentic voice of Nigeria's oil-rich region, will be back in just a moment. Don't go away.
Inside the Niger Delta.
Glad to have you back on the program. It's Inside the Niger Delta, the authentic voice of Nigeria's oil-rich region. The People's Democratic Party, PDP, in Bayelsa State and the restoration government of Henry Seriake-Dickson recently received shockers from top state officials resigning their membership of the party and their appointment to serve the state in several capacities. No fewer than 10 politicians and state officials comprising of commissioners, senior special assistants and special advisors to the Governor Dickson parted ways with the party and withdrew their services to the state, citing political reasons. Among those who resigned their appointment in the governor's cabinet are Honorable Godspower Ake, Special Advisor on Agriculture, and Ombo Napoleon, Senior Special Assistant on Community Development. Others in the list include Maxine Fefea, Commissioner for Mineral Resources, Tiwe Oruminie, Special Advisor on Conflict Resolution in Oil-Producing Communities, Matthew Zebakeme, Special Advisor on Culture, Evarada Abednego, Stephen Diver, Special Advisor on Political Matters, and Lawrence Ebede, Special Advisor on ICT Development. Those who have officially parted ways with the PDP are Honorable Berry Negrese, a Serving Commissioner in the Bayelsa State Local Government Service Commission, and Right Honorable Peremobowei Ebebi, former Deputy Governor and two-time Speaker of the Bayelsa State House of Assembly. While a few of the aggrieved political leaders in Bayelsa State adduce personal reasons for their actions, others openly accuse Governor Seriake-Dickson and the leadership of the PDP of high-handedness and manipulation of the September 3 governorship primary election of the party. Barely weeks to the November 16 governorship election in Bayelsa State, the move against the restoration government and the PDP is generally viewed as an ominous sign for the ruling party, which has a strong opposition in the All Progressives Congress APC to contend with at the upcoming polls. It will be recalled that the APC and its members have recently defected to the PDP in their numbers during the governorship campaign flag off by Senator Doye Diri, who emerged winner in the disputed September 3 governorship primaries of the PDP. As the November 16 governorship elections inches closer, the race for Creek Heaven is getting increasingly intriguing for most observers, leaving them to contemplate almost to no end in which direction the pendulum of victory will likely swing on the D-Day. The expectations of most Bayelsans, no doubt, is that unlike previous elections, the forthcoming governorship election will be devoid of violence and bloodletting. And now, away from Bayelsa politics, we move on to other issues of development in the Niger Delta. The House of Representatives Ad-hoc Committee on the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, recently concluded its investigative hearing on abandoned projects in the Niger Delta from the year 2000 till date. In its terms of reference, the Nicholas Osai-led committee, sitting in the Federal Capital Territory of Abuja was mandated to ascertain the period and costs of contracts awarded since the inception of the Commission. The lawmakers, as part of their oversight responsibility, were also required to determine the status of the 9,820 contracts so far awarded by the NDDC and to find out possible constraints faced by the Commission. Quite an uphill task, you will agree with me. Barring all odds, the committee went to work and held its first meeting with NDDC contractors. In the course of the meeting, some of the contractors had openly accused the NDDC officials of demanding kickbacks on awarded contracts and refusing to pay for projects successfully delivered without mobilization payments.
Before I collect the first milestone, NDDC, they have an agent in the corner. They collect 15%. Even the second milestone, these are the agreement arrived with the agents.
The agreement arrived with the agent?
Without so you cannot get the money.
Okay, you pay 15% of your money?
Yes, before they pay you.
To the consultant?
To the consultants.
Before they pay you?
Yeah, before they pay me. The first milestone, the second milestone. Then the third milestone, I even give 20%. Till today, I never get the money.
If you go to the office of the EDFA, sir, you will see a lot of contract files there. People that have achieved their milestones, people that have even completed their jobs without a dime, yet they are not still being paid. If you go to the office of the MD, you will see amples of files, thousands of files there.
Other NDDC contractors made a passionate appeal to the legislators to intervene in their plight as they had become practically bankrupt.
We've been passing through a lot in NDDC. We find it difficult to raise money to go to site to work. We'll go extra miles to get money. I have so many jobs, I'm still on site working. But even the ones who've worked, there is no payment. We go to communities who have issues with community. At the end, when we're done with this project, for we to get our money becomes a problem.
Chairman of the NDDC Ad hoc Committee, Nicholas Osai, assured the contractors that the setting up of the investigative hearing was to allow justice prevail in the award of NDDC contracts.
For those of you who have finished their job and yet have not been paid, you are supposed to be paid if you have done your job. And if somebody goes into agreement with you and you've done part of it and asks you to withdraw, there's a certain penalty for that. That we should also look into and be able to interface with the NDDC and let them show us reason why you have not been paid. And be rest assured that we'll make that recommendation.
Following that assurance, top officials of the NDDC, led by its acting managing director, Dr. Lelegima Enya, were summoned to provide useful information on the state of abandoned projects as well as the financial state of the Commission.
I, Linus Omari, Lelegima Enya,
do solemnly affirm that the evidence I shall give before this committee shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God.
Having put the NDDC officials on oath, the House of Representatives Ad hoc Committee went ahead with probing questions to unravel the facts behind the recent report from the Office of the Auditor General of the Federation alleging high-level financial impropriety in the Commission. The report had specifically held the NDDC culpable for abandoned projects amounting to the sum of 61.4 billion naira.
How many abandoned projects do you have in your records?
Number of stall projects, 342. Number of projects taken over by state governments and the others, 30. Number of cancelled, terminated projects, 49. I would like to state that the NDDC is determined to tackle this huge challenge of extremely low and slow rates of project completion. But to do this, we may humbly request for the backing of the Honorable Committee, the House of Representatives, and the National Assembly at large. In particular, I want to ask for the help in the recovery of all payments due from the federal government, as well as oil and gas companies operating in the Niger Delta region, in accordance with the NDDC Act.
In its determination to undertake a full-scale probe into the activities of the NDDC, the investigative committee had summoned all past chief executives of the commission from inception in 2000. After waiting anxiously for the outcome of the summons on past NDDC chief executives, most Niger Deltans were indeed disappointed. The investigative committee curiously held private meetings with the former helmsmen of the commission, depriving all interested parties their right to know the agenda of the secret meetings. It is instructive to note that the committee chairman, Nicholas Osai, who was talking tough at the commencement of the investigative hearing, suddenly adopted a plaintive approach in the interaction with the NDDC top management. During the conclusion of their assignment, it became rather obvious that the lawmakers who initially descended heavily on the top officials of the NDDC had assumed an advisory role in providing solutions to the Commission's abysmal failure in project management.
So when you are in position of authority, think about the millions of people who want to benefit from that your position. That's what I want, including the contractor. When you are told to do a specification of 2 inches, you do 1. You are also guilty of the offense Christ died for you. That's the guiltiness. So, as we plan to better Nigeria, we should also know that you are a pastor in government, that you are a minister of government in power, according to Romans chapter 13, verses 1 to 9. You are in charge now. Take decision that people can remember you tomorrow.
As they anxiously await the outcome of the recent investigative hearing on abandoned projects in their region, most Niger Deltans insist that it must not go the way of previous investigations that were compromised and swept under the carpet. Well, it looks like not only Niger Deltans were dissatisfied with the ad hoc committee's approach to investigating the NDDC. Even the presidency now believes that all is not right at NDDC and may not wait to rely on the investigative report of the ad hoc committee on the NDDC, as the president has ordered a forensic audit of the accounts of the commission from inception till date. President Buhari made the revelation while meeting with governors of the Niger Delta states, led by the Bayelsa State Governor, Honorable Henry Seriake Dixon, at the presidential villa in Abuja.
We have asked for a forensic audit of what has been happening, because the amount of money which the federal government is religiously allocating to NDDC, we would like to see the results on the ground. And those that are responsible for that, I think, will eventually be asked to explain certain issues.
The latest move by the presidency to sanitize the NDDC has received commendation from several groups in the Niger Delta, including the Pan-Niger Delta Forum, PANDEF. In a communique released to the media last Saturday, PANDEF welcomed the order for a forensic audit of the NDDC accounts by President Buhari. PANDEF, however, demanded that the names of beneficiaries of the Commission's contracts over the period of 2001 to 2019 be made public. A majority of Niger Delta activists believe that the publication of contract beneficiaries from the NDDC will be tantamount to opening a Pandora's box that will reveal not only the very corrupt nature of our political class, but also show their insensitivity to the plight of the Niger Delta people. From us here at Inside the Niger Delta, we urge President Muhammadu Buhari not to be distracted and not to relent from the onerous task of ridding the NDDC of corruption and corrupt practices that have made it ineffective in the discharge of a statutory role of providing development for the Niger Delta region.
Inside the Niger Delta.
For most Niger Deltans, it will take government's political will to address the myriad of problems faced by the NDDC and reposition the Commission to deliver on its mandate to promote lasting peace and sustainable development in the Niger Delta. This report, correspondent Ekena Miofori examines factors responsible for the lackluster performance of the NDDC with regards to efficient project management, as well as options available for effective service delivery to the beleaguered Niger Delta communities.
Following a report from the Office of the Auditor General of the Federation
accusing the NDDC of engaging in a contract scam worth over 61 billion naira. The House of Representatives recently summoned the Commission's top officials to give account of their stewardship to communities in the Niger Delta. To a large extent, some startling revelations made during the recent investigative hearing corroborate issues raised in the Auditor General's report. It was discovered, for instance, that of the 9,820 projects awarded by the Commission, only 4,288 have been completed. According to figures presented by NDDC officials, no fewer than 30 projects worth trillions of naira have been terminated, while 2,645 others remain stalled till date. So far, about 342 non-performing projects have been taken over by state governments. The state of poor service delivery by the NDDC is in spite of the staggering 2.8 trillion naira it received as statutory allocations between 2008 and 2018.
This is just an institution where the leadership of the minorities from the Niger Delta, where they dump the loot for them to share. It's not for the general interest of Niger Delta. If not so, Nigeria as a nation is sponsoring a lot of fund into Niger Delta that could have at least developed some part of this. But it is not. The projects they bring up are white elephant projects.
In the 2020 fiscal year, the sum of 81 billion naira is allocated to the NDDC to fund projects that will be supervised by the incoming board. The emerging board has been advised to enthrone sanity in the system by bringing all existing projects to a logical conclusion before awarding new contracts in the region.
Everybody that comes with their own emergency jobs. I don't see why you are awarding emergency jobs when the budgeted jobs that you are awarded have not fully been paid for. Should those jobs not be what you should return as emergency jobs to see that those things are done?
For me, I don't even let the board, let them whatever they are doing, let them wait a bit. Let this young lady that is in an acting capacity be allowed to stay and settle some of these contractors first. Let them check the real. They can't be owing 6 years in arrears and are giving the company this into briefcase companies and are paying them. Then what do you want other people to feel? Are they slaves?
Over the years, the performance index of the NDDC has been anything but desirable for most Niger Deltans, following several messy deals going on in the Commission. Only recently, the NDDC was enmeshed in scandals relating to underground recruitment of 300 staff and the illegal award of water hyacinth contract amounting to 1.9 billion naira. The recent turn of events in the NDDC seriously threatens its capacity to intervene in the decades-long crisis of development bedeviling the Niger Delta. In August 2004, the Commission unveiled the Niger Delta Regional Development Master Plan to facilitate sustainable development in the region. It was an ambitious plan to industrialize the region and create about 800,000 jobs in 4 years. Sadly, however, the implementation of the Regional Development Master Plan has been far below the people's expectations.
You need to have an agency that is beyond politics, an agency that does not have a politician at the helm. If you carry a card-carrying member of the APC or PDP into the NDDs, they will end up doing, servicing political godfathers. And so the best way for you to have a commission that will work for the people of this region is to have somebody apolitical.
So far, the NDDC has been a failed project in the Niger Delta due to several factors including poor management, greed and corruption. The Commission's inability to deliver on its mandate is also attributable to political interference by successive governments. Obviously, there's an urgent need to bring to an end the era of business as usual in the NDDC and reposition the Commission in a better stead that allows it focus on the issues that led to its establishment as an interventionist agency.
Inside the Niger Delta. Once every year, we take time out to celebrate a man sent by heaven to intervene in the tides of the affairs of men, a father, a teacher, a giver, life coach, game changer, and a man of impact. From all of us at Wovic Communications Limited, happy 57th birthday. Pastor David Ibiome, Senior Pastor, Salvation Ministries Home of Success. The positive impact you make in the lives of millions is immeasurable. We celebrate you.
Nigeria's Minister of Environment, Dr. Mamode Akugha, recently pledged the federal government's commitment to the success of the ongoing environmental cleanup exercise during a working visit to polluted sites in Ogoni land. Correspondent Chika Obodozie reports that Dr. Akugha and officials of the Hydrocarbon Pollution Remediation Project, HYPREP, received a warm reception by the Ogoni people during the recent visit.
After a brief interaction with officials of the Hydrocarbon Pollution Remediation Project HYPREP in Port Harcourt, Dr. Akugha proceeded to Ogoni land where he met with traditional rulers to assure them of the federal government's commitment to the restoration of the despoiled Ogoni environment back to its full productive health.
The Ogoni Clean-up is a signature project. It is the first of its kind in Africa and the world over, and there is no existing template. Rather, we are developing one that can be used hereafter for the remediation of the rest of the Niger Delta. The project requires a series of scientific processes to restore the Ogoni environment to what it used to be. The federal government is aware that there are several other challenges which we are facing as a result of the pollution. That is why, even though the core mandate of HYPREP is to remediate the land, other programs have been built into the project to address some of these challenges.
Whatever you do for us now in your office as Minister for Environment, the Ogoni people, I don't think they can forget you. We will honor you and adore you. I am grateful to you for spending time to come and see us and hear from us. I want to thank you for coming and promise you as a father that what we have worked for, we cannot allow it go. We started it with happiness, and we are going to end it with happiness.
As part of his recent walking visit to Rivers State, the minister undertook a tour of polluted sites where remediation activities were ongoing.
We have seen the stages of work, from excavation to the actual treatment of the soil, and from the different depths at various different places based on the level of contamination. We have seen it for ourselves. I can say this is a big success for this administration, and the people of Ogoni that I have talked to, the youth, the women, the elders, leaders, everybody, they are happy with this and happy with Mr. President for actually making his promise to clean up Ogoni.
Prior to the minister's tour of polluted sites, officials of HYPREP had interactive sessions with Ogoni women to intimate them on the agency's livelihood program designed to provide lifelong skills for victims of the environmental pollution in Ogoni land. In one of the interactive sessions at Aleto Community, Eleme local government area of River State, HYPREP disclosed plans to commence the first phase of its empowerment training program before the end of November this year. Under the Empowerment Training Program, facilitated in partnership with the United Nations Institute for Training and Research, UNITA, Ogoni women will be trained in diverse vocations, including crop cultivation, fish farming, and poultry.
We are carrying everybody in Ogoni land along. We are not leaving anybody behind. We want to ensure that everybody in Ogoni land has the touch of HYPREP livelihood program. You may not participate as a person, but the multiplier effect of somebody from your community or somebody from your family attending this program will definitely touch you in one way or the other.
On completion of the training for a period of 7 months, the first set of beneficiaries will be required to form cooperatives to access startup capital from HYPREP.
When I was talking, I asked my women, do you people like what these people have said? They said they are very happy. I should try quickly for the selection. After this gathering, now, we are not going to waste time for the selection because what the Hinet have talked, we are very happy. We are selecting women quickly so for us to start any business.
So delighted and happy because I see that this HYPREP will really empower women after this program to stand on their own. to do the work on their own. They will not stay idle any longer again. If you know that you want to move higher than how you are today, you can take a decision to learn the work.
The restoration of livelihoods to the ecologically devastated Ogoni communities is in line with the recommendations of the United Nations Environment Programme, UNEP, in a report it submitted to the federal government in August 2011.
Inside the Niger Delta.
Well, that's the much we can take on the program. Inside the Niger Delta, the authentic voice of Nigeria's oil-rich region, will be back same time next week on this station. Until then, you can follow us on our social media handles showing right now on your screen. Till same time, same station next week, I am Mamode Akugha saying thank you all so much for watching and bye for now.